All right, let's get straight to it. If you're a UK firm working under the Payment Services Regulations, I've got a really important question for you. Is it possible that your current risk register is actually putting you at risk? Well, let's dig in and find out. Now, before we go any further, this quick explainer is brought to you by us, compliance consultants. Look, we're specialists and we have a really simple mission. We make compliance work. Not just on paper, but in the real world, especially for UK financial services firms dealing with thorny regulations like the PSRs. So, let's really think about this for a second. Of course you have a risk register. Everyone does. But is it genuinely built for the very specific, complex world of the payment services regulations? Or, and be honest here, is it just a generic template that might be leaving you wide open to risk? And that right there leads us to a huge pitfall we see firms fall into all the time. We actually call it the generic register trap. See, so many companies grab these standard templates. They look pretty comprehensive, right? But underneath, there's a massive flaw, especially if you're a payment or e-money institution. So what's the big deal? Well, look, these standard templates, they're not totally useless. They're pretty good at covering the usual suspects, things like conduct, financial crime, data prediction. And hey, that's all super important stuff. But here's the catch. They completely miss the unique, high-stakes risks that actually define your world under the PSRs. And this really shows you the gap, doesn't it? On the left, that's what a generic register typically covers. But over on the right, that's your reality. That's the stuff you have to deal with every single day. If your register isn't laser-focused on things like safeguarding or SCA, well, those question marks, they represent massive unmanaged risks just waiting to happen. Okay, and this is where things get, pretty concerning, honestly. And we're talking about hidden exposures, the kinds of risks under the PSRs that chances are you're not even tracking if you're using one of those standard off-the-shelf tools. How many? Well, based on what we've seen, we've identified 6, that's right, 6 critical PSR-specific risk categories that are almost always missing from those generic registers. And let's be clear, that's not just a little gap, that's a fundamental flaw in your risk management. Okay, let's talk about the first one, safeguarding. The FCA, your regulator, has been crystal clear about this. It is their #1 priority. Why? Because it's all about protecting your client's money. It's that simple. And yet, unbelievably, most standard registers have no dedicated spot for it. That means you could be completely blind to major risks in how you segregate funds or even do your daily reconciliations. All right, missing risk number 2, strong customer authentication, or SCA. You know these rules. They're what make sure your customers' payments are actually secure, using things like two-factor authentication. The thing is, the requirements here are incredibly specific and technical. Just trying to shoehorn them into a generic IT risk bucket, it just doesn't work. It's a terrible fit. And here's something that's really, really important to get. It's not just about missing entire categories. It's that the way you're measuring risk is probably wrong, too. Think about it. A generic scale might see a £50,000 fine and a £50,000 safeguarding shortfall as the same financial impact. But are they really? Of course not. To the FCA and to your business's reputation, they are worlds apart. Those generic scales, they massively downplay your most critical risks. Okay, so that's the problem. It's a pretty big one, right? So what's the solution? Well, this is where having a specialist tool, one that was designed from the ground up just for firms like yours, becomes absolutely essential. And the difference is, well, it's night and day. Just take a look at this comparison. Your standard register covers the basics. Fine. But our PSR version, it adds those 6 specialist categories we've been talking about. It fixes that broken impact scale, and it gives you specific prompts to guide your thinking. You're not just tweaking things, you're jumping from 11 risk categories to 17. That's a massive leap in how well you're covered. And why is it so much more effective? It's actually really simple. It's because it was built just for you. This isn't some generic one-size-fits-all tool that's been slightly adapted. Nope. It's a specialist framework designed from scratch for payment institutions, e-money institutions, and, yes, even RAISPs. So what are you actually getting inside this framework? Well, first you get an executive dashboard. It's perfect for your board meetings. Then there's the enhanced risk register itself, and we've even pre-populated it with examples to get you started fast. You also get an action tracker, so nothing falls through the cracks, and of course, our PSR-adjusted scoring methodology. It is literally everything you need to get a handle on your risks, right from day one. And this is so important. This isn't just a collection of good ideas somebody had. No way. Every single part of this framework is meticulously mapped directly to the specific regulations that you operate under. We're talking the PSRs, the EMRs, consumer duty, the whole shebang, so you can be confident that you're actually covering all your bases. Okay, so where do you go from here? What's the next step? How do you make that journey from being potentially exposed to being firmly in control of your compliance? Well, the answer is simple. You work with experts who live and breathe this stuff. This solution was developed by us here at Compliance Consultant. You might also know us as the Compliance Doctor. We're a specialist UK consultancy, and we help firms with everything from deep dive governance reviews all the way through to getting full FCA authorization. When you boil it all down, it comes back to one simple, powerful idea. Your firm is governed by a very specific regulatory framework. So why wouldn't you have a risk register that reflects that? You absolutely deserve a tool that was actually built for your reality. So we've made this really easy. You've got two simple options to take control. If you're ready to dive in, you can purchase the register right now and get instant access. Or if you'd rather chat about your firm's specific needs first, you can book a completely free discovery call with one of our experts. All the details you need are right there on your screen. It's time to take control of your PSR compliance. Give us a call at Compliance Consultant, home of the Compliance Doctor, on the number shown, or just click the link to book that discovery call. Thanks so much for your time.